Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to send you a message today. So my last message last week got a lot of response, and I appreciate that. So if you didn't catch it, feel free to check it out on Facebook or Instagram or on LinkedIn. And you can follow me on Hired, How to Get the Job on lots of different platforms, especially as I try to put different content on different things. But my name is Tony, and I wanted to share something with you today that I was thinking about with my son again on Friday. We were doing some schoolwork, and I think what I'm going to share with you is probably the exact opposite of what you might read in any self-help book. And so it might not be as well received as previous messages, but here we'll go. We'll try anyway. But what I want to say is, we're in this world right now, this brave new world of ours, and we're so quick to realize there's lots of problems and we want to focus on the solution. And for lots of us, me included, we lost our full-time job, and now we're trying to figure out what do we do, and we want to focus on the solution of getting another job. But let me digress for a second. So my son on Friday, we're doing some schoolwork, and as I shared, he's 6 years old, he's in kindergarten, and we're homeschooling him. And I was explaining to him one of the problems with school, or one of the problems he was working on. And he just kind of cut me off and said, no, I know, I'll do it. And I said, fine. And a minute later, he came back with what he was finishing for the assignment, and it was wrong. And I said, Beckett, this is wrong. And I kind of went into it and got really frustrated. And I said, Beckett, you got to focus on the problem before you can see the solution. And it reminded me, too, of another illustration. When I was in boot camp way back when in 1998, my drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Askew, phenomenal guy, made it to Sergeant Major, and I'm not surprised. But in my second week of boot camp, he came and he said, he was telling me to do something. And the way boot camp works is they bark orders at you, especially in between movements. Like you might have something that ends at 8:30 and something that starts at 8:45. So that means you got 15 minutes of games, which just means they're going to make your life hell. But he would yell at you and tell you to do something, and tell me to do something. I'd go do it. I'd come back, and he said, you know what, Recruit Martin, we're going to have a lot of fun. You know why? And I said, sir, no, sir. And he goes, we're going to have a lot of fun because you don't think, you just do. And he walked away. And he goes, now go do this. And he told me to do something else. But what he was getting at was, I didn't take a second to process the information. I just wanted to go solve the task. And I feel like in our current state of mind, if we do that, we're going to miss a lot of things. So, for example, I worked in HR for a long time, and I hope to again someday. But for the time being, I know that when I was in HR, things like this pandemic, were good excuses to get rid of weaker players. And sometimes, unfortunately, hiring managers don't have the courage or the ability to have those crucial conversations with their employees to say, hey, look, you need to get better at this, or help them get stronger. So what does that mean? That means that when a layoff happens, your name's on the list. You never get told what's wrong with you as an employee. You never get an opportunity to make it better, and you just go, oh, well, I got laid off, and you move on. So if you lack the self-awareness, you might just assume that this layoff was normal. And for the vast majority of people, you were laid off because of a pandemic and not because of your deficiencies. But there is a small group of people, and when you have over 20 million people in the U.S. that were laid off, then that's 1% of the population. Then we're talking 20,000 people, I think, were laid off because of your performance, and you don't know it. So what I want to say is that, first of all, take the time to process why you are looking for a job. Now, maybe it was for performance, and maybe it's because you're not passionate about what you're doing. You've just been doing it for a long time, and that means at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for the new job. So you're focusing on the solution before you really focused on the problem. And the problem is you lost your job. Why'd you lose your job? Because you weren't performing well. Why weren't you performing well? Because you're not passionate about it. So maybe use this opportunity to figure out what you are passionate about. That's the first thing. Second thing is that when it comes to being, that perhaps you were laid off, like the vast majority of people, because there's a pandemic and you're phenomenal at your job. But now you need to get a new job. Before you focus on the new job and what you're trying to do, make sure the problems that you're going to encounter, you've already been able to anticipate. Is your resume where it needs to be? Are you able to answer tough interview questions? Do you know how to? I had a couple of clients last week. I had one that I'm thinking particularly for interviews, and he and I did a mock interview the day before, his real interview with the company. So there are companies still hiring right now, which is great news. But he did the mock interview with me. I gave him some good pointers. The next day, he killed the face-to-face, and he told me, he says, Tony, 9 out of 10 questions you asked me when it came to emotional intelligence, they asked me something like that, and I was well prepared for it. So he focused on the problems. He focused on the fact that he knew his gaps. Focus on your gaps. Focus on the things that you think you can improve on, that you need to improve on. And then you'll be able to succeed at the next level. And if you don't know what you're trying to do, or you don't know what you should be doing next, then certainly focus on that. Find your purpose. Find what makes you excited. Find what you can excel in. And if you can do those sort of things, your next role is going to take you a lot further than your past role took you. I think that's kind of it today. I want you, though, to, if you like this, please share it with other people. If you think people need to hear these kind of messages, please follow me, share these, like my posts, and also be aware that if you have questions, interviewing, resume writing, if you're a hiring manager and you're trying to figure out how to grow your team, which I had one last week, but they're trying to keep their culture alive. They have 40 people in the company. They're going to grow to probably about 60 or 70 now. Before the pandemic, they would have grown to well over 100. If you double the size of your team, you're going to change your culture unless you're aware of your culture. They're aware of this, and they wanted to make sure that they had someone that could help them assess their culture and then maintain it as they grow, and help them coach them on what to ask as they grow. So that's kind of where I came in last week for them. But bottom line, make sure you understand what problems you're going through right now. Focus on the problems so you can fully understand them. And then, and only then, will your solution be the correct solution. And don't be like my 6-year-old son, where you focus on a solution to a question that was never asked. Focus on the solution that you need for you and your family. And again, this Thursday, 2 p.m., 1400 Central Standard Time, follow me on Facebook. I do a live Q&A event where I'll answer questions on resume writing, interviewing skills, culture, things for hiring managers, as well as candidates looking for jobs. Thanks so much. Please share this and like it if you like it, and write a comment below if you have a question or you want to learn more. Thanks so much. Hope you're having a great week. Take care.